inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, and we ready to roll, man. We ready to cause some controversy. You know, man.
You're always ready.
We got to cause some controversy, man, because we already know the interview went down this morning. All right, I saw it on the internet. Jake Paul is back in the news, and man, you know, you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it when everybody's got beef. You know what I mean? Everybody's, just wanting to throw hands. You know what I mean? That's what I like about the fight game. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, Book. Rob Van Dam once told me, he goes, Booker can be confrontational, right? And I never really, I saw if you had to handle business, you would, but causing controversy is something I guess we've done on this show over the last several years. So I'm excited to get into it. I saw that same Jake Paul video. We got to talk about all the stuff that went down in the world of wrestling this week that we didn't get to last show. But I tell you what, I did something that I rarely do. I went back and watched, because it didn't take me long, the 3 big title fights from UFC show. Yeah. That might be one of the best UFC cards ever.
No, I think
I think it might be.
No, from the prelims all the way up to the main card to the main event. It was a barn burner, man. It was a barn burner. When you seeing guys get knocked out, and the ladies as well get knocked out, I'm talking about just give them a pillow. Just give them a pillow. Night. It was one of those type of deals. And if the fights were like that all the time, I'm all in, man. I'm all in.
They were great. They were great looking back at it.
The main event went in at 11 p.m.
That was great.
I think that's the earliest a main event has ever gone in Houston, Texas anyway. As far as me trying to stop. For me, it's all, I've watched the prelims. And this time they had a prelim to the prelim. Okay?
Yeah.
And that was a first. So you start watching MMA at 5 o'clock. You know what I mean? And you'll see 5 o'clock. And normally it's not over to, midnight. That's 2 WrestleManias.
Well, depending on when. Because I remember Mania 35, the year that you went in the hall. I think we got to the show at about 4:30.
That was the long one. Yeah.
We left it like maybe 1:45. It's like, damn, this is a long show. I like wrestling, not that much.
That's when you ain't got no credential, man. You got to show up early. You know what I mean? You got to ride with everybody else, get there on time. I ain't with that, man. I ain't with that. You remember
you're not with falling what?
You remember we got invited to James Harden party?
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard. Yeah, Dwight Howard's party. And they had the bus going to his house.
Oh, right. You refused to take the bus.
Bro, I'm like, look here, bro. I'm not getting on no bus, okay? They can forget that. I said a long time ago, man, when I was a kid. When I was a kid, man, I used to have to catch, 2-3 buses to work and whatnot before I ever had a car. And I said, man, when I get some money in my pocket, I'm never catching a bus ever again. I don't care what kind of bus it is. I'm not getting on it. And that's that deal right there.
Well,
man.
What was funny about that night though, because Dwight Howard, it was weird. You had to meet at a parking lot, and then they chauffeured you to the party, which was at some kind of mansion kind of place, and then you'd have to be chauffeured back. What I remember though is, Booker, you called me because I was actually sitting on the bus. You know me, I'm sitting, I'm happy, I'm excited, and Booker calls me. He's like, hey man, yeah, so here's the thing. I'm not getting on this bus, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, here, I'll come talk to you. So I get off the bus. I go over to talk to Book. And, Book's very adamant in his stance of you're not getting on the bus. And then what do you proceed to do? You proceed to start pointing people out and just ripping them apart and making fun of them. You remember that? You're like, look at this guy. He's wearing a cowboy hat. You think I'm getting on a bus with a guy with a cowboy hat? You think I'm about to do that?
I just couldn't do it. I don't know why, man. Something would not let me get on that damn bus.
And I don't know. What'd you end up doing? You just drove straight there?
Drove straight there, yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted to park my car. Actually, I think they did park my car for me. And everything, it's like, oh, Booker T's here. I mean, everything's good. But I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy, stuff like that.
That was a fun night. That was a fun night. You remember Bun B?
Oh man,
I love Bun. That's my guy.
Bud was the life of the party. Let's just say
Bun
that.
was great.
Bud was
I
the
love
life
Bun.
of the party.
Bun had a stogie in his hand. You know what I mean? And a bow tie on. The brother meant business.
I was wondering what was up on the bow tie too, you know. And it seemed like he was in his scholar mode.
Because he is a professor.
That's what I'm saying. It seemed like he was in the scholar mode where he was like, man, I'm finna school these suckers here tonight. At this party. But everybody was looking like, man, is that Bun B? You know what I mean? Because he didn't have on no Jordans and a sweatsuit. You
Right.
know? But definitely was him, man. I had a great time that night. It was a blast, I must say that.
It was a fun night. It was a fun night. That was one bus time. And then didn't you refuse to get on the bus in TNA?
Oh, no, I got on the bus in TNA. I
Oh, okay.
refused to eat catering from a roadside food stand.
Oh.
That's what I refused in TNA. I'm like, hold up. Wait a minute. This is not right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's just no more than that. This is not right. You know, you don't treat the boys like that, man. Pull over to a roadside food service. You don't know. I mean, you don't know if this thing is sanitized. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what this dude been having. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? But that's about the only thing I refused in TNA, as well as doing a job to Matt Morgan. But
That's what I was about to bring up. You wouldn't do the job either. Now let me ask you: in your
I ain't doing
illustrious,
it. I'm not doing it.
in your illustrious 30-year career, is Matt Morgan and it wasn't it? And let's be clear, it wasn't because it was Matt Morgan.
Oh, no.
But was that the only guy that you never did the favors for?
It's the only time I refused to do a job.
Okay.
It's the only
I
time
never heard you say anything
do a
else.
job. That's the only time I refused to go out and put somebody over. And it wasn't because of Matt Morgan. It was about my career. It was about, me, still having to, show my face, in public, and just the way they wanted to do it in TNA. It just wasn't right. It just wasn't right. And my thing is, I always say, man, I'm all about losing in wrestling matches, but it's the way you lose.
Sure.
The way you lose, man, is so important. For me, I always like looking up at the lights. I don't know what it was. I went to 1, 2, 3, definitive. You know what I mean? No, shoulder actually come up right at the last minute. No, actually little, almost dead kick right at the last. No, none of that. 1, 2, 3, looking up at the lights. Those are the best ways to win, but best ways to lose. But it's how you found your way on your back is the most important thing. Seriously.
Let me ask you something. And this is like something I don't even know if we've ever talked about this, and I don't know how, because it's one of the most covered things in wrestling history, and I don't think I've ever asked you your opinion on it. What was your opinion on Montreal with Brett? Because Brett said he didn't want to do business with Shawn because of the beef kind of that they had, didn't want to lose in Canada. Did you kind of agree with his angle on that, or did you disagree with it? Should he have done the business, or...
You know what? In hindsight, if you go back and run it all over again, I think Brett would say he should have did the job.
Yeah,
I think I've heard Brett say, that's the worst mistake he ever made was leaving the WWE, WWF at that time. If I'm not mistaken, I'm almost sure I've heard Bret Hart say that. Should he have done the favor? For Shawn Michaels, I don't know. I don't know what the beef was. I don't know what, how the system was ran in WWE at that time. Those guys seemed like they took that spot very, very serious.
Sure.
All right. It seemed like that was, the holy grail as far as the WWF back then at that time, Bret Hart, having the moniker, the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. He really believed that, man. I was listening to, I can't remember who it was. I think Road Dogg. Road Dogg say they were on the plane one time, and he was sitting in first class, with Bret Hart. Bret Hart was sitting in front of him, and they, the flight, they took off, and somewhere along the flight, Bret called back to Road Dogg and asked him to come up to the front of the plane so he could talk to him. He say, that was cool. They sit down. He say, so you really think Shawn Michaels is a better wrestler than me? And Road Dogg was like, man, are you serious? I thought we was going to have a Jack and Coke. You know what I mean? And just kick it. But no, he really took it that way. And Shawn Michaels as well, man. Shawn Michaels.
It's why they're good as they are.
He wasn't the biggest guy in the world, but he wanted to go out there and prove that he was the best. And I think that's, like you said, that's what made those guys legendary, is because they really took that job seriously. And I talk to, people all the time, as far as for me, when I put my boots and tights on, wrestling was what it was. But for me, it was always real when I went out there to entertain those fans, because it wasn't about me. It was about them getting the ultimate in entertainment and walking away feeling like they got their money's worth more than anything, coming to watch a wrestling match. So, yeah, man, those guys, they're the best because they put in the work. Guys, we're in the Hall of Fame right now. Stick around. We'll be back. We got a whole lot more for you. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Man, yeah. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about today, man. We got a lot to talk about. Impact went down. Daniel Bryan close to retirement. CM Punk teasing a match with Will Ospreay. Charlotte Flair back in action, man. Reinstated. The one thing, Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul, that's something that's simmering. But Jake Paul said he won't Nick Diaz. If he had to choose somebody. But Tyron Woodley is on that list. Let's talk about that for 1 second. Tyron Woodley. 2 years ago, this guy was the champion.
Yep.
In the UFC. And now 2 years later, he's out.
Yep.
He's looking for a job. He's looking for a promotion. He's probably going to land in PFL, Bellator, something like that. But I tell you, like I said just last week, Anthony Showtime Pettis, he showed up in PFL. It comes on tonight as well on ESPN2. Check it out. It's actually a pretty cool organization. Showtime Pettis showed up and got the hell beat out of him in PFL. So don't think you guys going to just be, especially at T. Woodley, 40 years old, 38 years old, something like that. Yeah. He's almost at that number. Don't think you're going to run to some organization and reinvent yourself. It ain't happening. Okay. It's not happening.
I will say this on two fronts. One, to the Showtime Pettis thing, he might have gotten his ass handed to him in the PFL and not been able to reinvent himself. He still went home to that lady that we saw the last time they were in Houston.
Howdy Biscotti.
It's really not a bad deal for him. You know what I mean? That'll make you feel real good when you walk through the door. Baby, how'd it go?
Let me tell you right there. If you take a few ass whoopings, normally a woman like that, she's gone in the wind.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, I think she loves.
Am I right on that or what? You know what I mean? Normally they don't stick around if the gravy train stop rolling. That's normally the way it is.
I think she loves him for him. They seem like they're down. They're down for the cause. Now the thing
I
is,
saw the love when they was here in Houston.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of love to see. There's a lot of love to see. That's the kind of thing where he came home. She said, "Baby, how'd it go?" He sees her. He goes, "It went great. I'm back." But to go back to Tyron Woodley, let me ask you this, because they didn't cut Tyron Woodley. They allowed his contract to expire, which to me is even worse. Because when they cut you, at least you're on their mind. And they're saying, you know what, we're going to make this decision. You're no longer profitable to us. We are going to cut you. But to not even entertain a contract negotiation of any kind with Tyron Woodley and just allow his deal to lapse and expire, I think is a little bit more of a slap in the face. It shows that it's not even that they even had a conscious effort to let him go. They just didn't even care.
I think that's the way it was. I think they didn't care. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest. Tyron Woodley, they've been trying to get the belt off that guy for quite some time. You know what I mean? Usman just happened to be the guy. You know what I mean? Darren Till, they tried to, slip the title on Darren Till. He just couldn't pull it off. They even tried to get, put the title on Damian Maya. Okay? They tried to, they're like, man, we got to get the title off this guy. Because he was causing a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of big waves, but he was definitely causing a lot of ripples, sure. in the UFC. He definitely had got to that point where he felt like he had a little star power. So he wanted to pull a Deshaun Watson. He wanted to start calling.
You said it. You said controversy at the beginning of the show. I should have known this is where you were going.
Watson and start talking about what's going on in the front office. You know what I mean? And talking about money, you know what I mean? How much money I'm getting and this kind of stuff. Talking about, him being a star, him doing movies, you know what I mean? And I think at one point he was even talking about a rap career or something like that.
I think he has an album out.
Exactly my point. You know what I mean? So the UFC was like, man, just like with Ocho Cinco and Chad Dawson, get these suckers out of here, man. We don't need them. And that's what list that Tyron Woodley was on. That list of, man, he's causing trouble. He's not drawing a whole lot of money. Let's get him up out of here. And this was the easiest way, I think. Let the contract run out. Let him get beat out. Because since his last fight he lost was Covington, right?
Yeah. Didn't he fight after Covington?
I think the last fight that he had was against Colby Covington.
You might be right.
And then the last fight he had before that was Usman. Am I right or wrong?
Let's look. No, because he fought what's his name? Gilbert Burns. Oh, Vicente Luque. He lost in UFC 260 back in March. Lost in the first round.
So
hey, book.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. So it was he lost his last four: Kamaru, Gilbert, Colby, Vicente.
See, so it's all the wear on the tires. You take the penny, all right. You put it up in the tires, and normally if it don't come by the head or something like that,
right.
You got to get some new tires.
Right.
Right now, this summer gun is ball. You get nothing when you put Tyron Woodley on the tire. It's flat.
You see the whole penny.
You see everything. It's like, wait a minute, we need some new tires. And that's what Tyron Woodley was with the UFC. It was time to, let him go. Now, this is the thing. Him running up on Jake Paul, him wanting, to get some of that Jake Paul money. Would that be a good fight for Jake Paul? I think so. Will it draw the revenue Jake Paul is looking for? I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because the Ben Askren thing did all the business. Now, the only difference between Ben and Tyron is I actually think that Ben is a little bit more charismatic as far as delivering an interview, making people buy into it. But Tyron looks like a bigger challenger, right? I mean, we've talked about this. He still has a championship physique, and he's a former UFC champion, unlike Ben Askren. So, I mean, there might be some more money there. Really, let's be honest. The A side and Ben Askren and Jake Paul was Jake Paul. Jake Paul was the A side of that fight. It was not Ben Askren.
I think Jake Paul was the A side. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, he'll be the A side in this fight as well. But I just don't think, that many people care about him fighting Tyron Woodley. Now,
I don't think Jake Paul cares about it.
And then again, MMA versus boxing. I think that's where the intrigue come in. But the person, I think the person being Ben Askren. Ben Askren, you was on one or two sides. You want to see this guy win just because you was, from the MMA world, or you want to see him just get destroyed just because you just don't like him. I mean,
which side were you on?
I was on Jake Paul's side.
You want to see Ben just get beat up?
I want to see Ben Askren go out and get beat up pretty good. Just just because I didn't like him, just because I didn't like, just same thing. Just say, for instance, you put Kobe Covington in there. I'd be wishing for Kobe Covington to get beat
Sure.
just because I just don't like him. You know what I mean? Just because he spews a lot of hate, and I just don't think, me personally, I would want to be a part of anything like that. But I think Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, same thing. I'm gonna be going with Jake Paul in that fight as well. You know what? If they put Jake Paul against Daniel Cormier in a fight, in a boxing match, I'll be going with Jake Paul in that fight.
I think he'd probably win. But I heard Jake Paul say his plan is, and you alluded to a minute ago, his next fight, ideally, although there's a lot of fire around him and Tyron, there's even more fire around him and DC. His ideal next fight is Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz, the man who beat Conor McGregor. Do you think that's a good matchup for him? Because Nate likes to throw those hands.
Well, one thing about throwing hands, you can't do the Stockton slap with boxing gloves.
True.
All right? He's going to have to go out and throw punches. He's going to have to throw, hard punches. I don't think we've ever seen Nick Diaz go out and fight from a boxer's perspective ever. Okay? Like I say, we've seen him go out and throw punches, but throwing punches in the UFC with those 6-ounce gloves on, compared to having those mittens on, it would be a totally different fight. And I just feel like there again, Jake Paul, 24 years old. Guy's young. He's got youth on his side. He actually can go out and fight and protect himself. He did it very well with Ben Askren. Ben Askren didn't put a glove on him that I noticed anyway.
Yeah.
I would be picking the kid in that fight to go out there and do Nick Diaz pretty bad.
Yeah, Nate Diaz only has 4 knockouts in his career as far as knockout wins. So probably not a. It was probably then it's a good fight for Jake. Because Jake says, if I beat Nate Diaz is the guy that beat Conor McGregor.
Nick Diaz, wasn't it? Wasn't it Nick?
No, it's Nate. It's
Diaz.
Nate.
Okay.
So it's Nate, which I think is is more difficult than Nick at this point in Nick's career, right? Nick hadn't fought in how many years?
I don't know. I think he would beat up Nate Diaz pretty good as well.
No, I'm saying, but I think Nate's a little bit more of a challenge. Nevertheless, he said, if I beat Nate Diaz, then I beat the guy who beat Conor, and then I fight Conor next. And depending on how things go in July for Conor McGregor against Dustin Poirier in their rematch,
You're going to be looking for a fight.
he might be looking for a fight.
Yeah, he definitely. You know what? I like how the kid is working his magic, bringing the MMA world, into another, stratosphere. I don't think it would be wise, for a Nate Diaz or a Conor McGregor to take that fight, because I don't think it would be anything like, him and Floyd Mayweather or anything like that. People look at the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight, and they really think Conor McGregor did a whole lot of good work in that fight. They really, a lot of people really, really think that. You know what I mean? Man, Conor McGregor looked really, really good against Floyd Mayweather. And I tell you, Floyd Mayweather could have got rid of Conor McGregor inside 3 rounds if he wanted to. Trust me on that. But people see it, from pugilism as if, anybody can go out there and do it well. But it's a different game. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all.
You did it again, didn't you?
What's that, man?
Oh, I thought you came in before it was over.
No, man, I didn't come in before it was over, man. I was looking at the Nation of Domination is going to be reforming in 2022. What's your deal on that, man?
Well,
Ron,
apparently,
Godfather. Who else going to be in that?
Mark Henry.
Mark Henry. Ahmed Johnson.
Ahmed didn't make the cut.
Wait a minute. Ahmed Johnson didn't make the cut.
Ahmed did
He
not.
he was like the leader of the Nation of Domination at one point, I think.
But I think maybe. But let's put some respect on Farouk's name here. Big T did not make the cut. Nevertheless, they are reuniting in QPW, which I believe that according to the press release, you're going to be on the same show.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That's what I read.
Ain't nobody told me about that.
You don't know that you're on this show?
No.
Well, look, you're booked, Terry.
What the hell is going on? I didn't see that. I'm about to pull that back up and look at it again.
You're booked, Terry.
Because I'm like, how the hell y'all gonna book me? And ain't nobody called me and told me about it. Because I'm gonna tell you, the last time I went to Qatar, my price done went up 10 grand. It ain't nobody called me and talked to me about that. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. But what do you think? What do you think about them getting back together? I mean, look, here's the thing. The Nation, in my opinion, doesn't get discussed enough. They really don't. And when you look at that 1990s period of Monday Night Raw, and you look at the talent that came out of the Nation. Now, you had Farouk, obviously Ron Simmons, already an established veteran of the game, but still making his path in WWE. From the Nation, he spun off and got to do the stuff with Bradshaw, which I think most people remember him for in his WWE run as the APA. Go to D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown, when he first came into the Nation, I mean, he was round in the face, little baby fat on him, and by the time he got out of the Nation, European champion, Intercontinental champion. He got all the head whip stuff over, right? He had the chest plate. He was one of those guys who always put in a good match on a Monday Night Raw, hit you with that splash, you're out of here. Godfather, when he was in the Nation, he was Kama Mustafa. That was his name. He gets out of the Nation, and then he has the biggest run that he's ever had as the Godfather. Bigger than Papa Shango, bigger than Kama. The Godfather, who got inducted in the Hall of Fame? Not Papa Shango. Godfather. Charles Wright got inducted in the Hall of Fame. And then you look at, obviously, The Rock, the biggest success story out of the whole faction. Mark Henry as well. Mark Henry and The Rock. Because when Mark Henry, let me get to Mark Henry first. When he came in, he was kind of that all-American. It was like 94, fresh out of the Olympics. He didn't really have a direction. The Nation gave him a direction. Then he spun off of that, became Sexual Chocolate. From Sexual Chocolate, World's Strongest Man, Hall of Pain, World Champion. All started there, and then we know what The Rock did. So the Nation, to me, doesn't get enough love for what they did in for the industry and with those five guys I just mentioned.
No, definitely the faction, put it down as far as going out there and creating something that was totally different when they did it. Like you say, the spinoff, everybody came out of the thing better than when they went in.
Normally you only get like one guy who spins out of the faction, right?
Yeah.
You only get like one guy. They got five.
I was just reading here. I just finally got down to the part where it says, Booker T, Bret Hart, Sting, Eric Bischoff, and Booker T will also take part in the show. These names are confirmed. I'm going to talk to somebody about this.
Let me put in a call.
My man over there, you know what I mean? We always, take care of each other and whatnot. So if it is going down, it's 2022? Early 2020, February 2022. Definitely, I'll be down to make a trip. Me and the little woman is down for a vacation anytime. And I'm gonna tell you, to go to Qatar, beautiful, beautiful place to be. Beautiful place to be. So to take the African accent with me, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing.
Qatar's a pretty place, huh?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
Farrah lived there for a couple of years, but I've never really seen pictures or anything of it. I don't know how it looks. So it's pretty.
I'm gonna tell you, bro. Yeah.
Is it palatial?
Oh, it's plush. Yeah,
Plush.
yeah. Everything's just beautiful. I mean, that you could smell the money. You know what I mean? It's like that. I'm serious, but it's a beautiful place. But it ain't a place that just say, for instance, if you want to just take a vacation and go to and party. It ain't like the party and
It's not Dubai.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's beautiful, beautiful team.
You know, we had a question come in here, and I'm trying to find. Oh, here it is. You know, we're going to talk about the Impact Wrestling. They just had a pay-per-view this last weekend. Big title change, which maybe we'll hear more about tonight on AEW Dynamite. But Nola Fan 77 said a couple years ago, Raw, the reality wrestling, worked against TNA. How was it working with them on an owner-to-owner level? Yeah, I mean, Deep Impact, right? Deep
Yeah,
Impact was
yeah.
the name of the show that we had here at the Reality Wrestling's headquarters, the World Gym Arena. Raw versus Impact. That was a fun night. I really enjoyed that night. But what was your experience like those couple years ago?
I thought the show went off very, very well. We got along very, very good as far as talent goes. It was all about going out there and getting talent over. I remember Homicide, work with my tag team here, which was really, really cool. Nah, man, I just thought TNA, as far as working with reality of wrestling, that was a good thing. I think some of our guys, matched up with their guys very, very well. But I just think I hate to say it, man, but I just think TNA should be in a much better place than having to come down to Texas to do a show with reality of wrestling. Even though it was cool, it was great. Just like right now they're doing stuff with AEW. That's cool and all. But if I was if I had a major television deal here at Reality of Wrestling, I don't think you would have ever witnessed TNA versus, TNA versus Reality Wrestling. I don't think you would ever saw that, just because it is about business. I don't think it's about breaking you or anything like that, but it's about my product looking a certain way, and I want it to stay looking a certain way. And to do that, I got to do certain things. For me, small independent promotion, getting a rub from I wouldn't call them an independent promotion, slightly higher at that point anyway.
Sure.
It was good for us, but I just think TNA Impact, man, they definitely dropped the ball and missed out on a whole lot. And right now, AEW is reaping the benefits.
Yeah, AEW, well, I guess that probably brings in a good time to talk about it. This last weekend, AEW and TNA worked together. TNA had a show, Rebellion, their pay-per-view, and in the main event, it was champion versus champion, title for title. The TNA champion, or the Impact World Champion, Rich Swann, formerly of the WWE, he was a cruiserweight champion down there, went up against Kenny Omega, the AEW champion, and Kenny Omega walks out the brand new Impact World Champion and Impact World Champion and AEW champion at the end of the night. Do you think that's good or bad for your company when the world champion isn't even signed to your company?
I don't know. I don't know what Impact is thinking right now. Maybe they're thinking, the rub. Maybe they're thinking the rub. Where AEW is going to.
It's a cool moment. It's a cool moment as a wrestling fan.
It's a cool moment for AEW.
Sure.
It's not a cool moment for Impact Wrestling unless, I own both companies and I was working the fans, at the same time with both of my companies. For Rich Swann to go out and lose the title to Kenny Omega, it does absolutely nothing, in my opinion. And if just say, for instance, if I was doing Deep Impact with TNA and they wanted Reality Wrestling champion to lose and drop the belt, it wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen.
Do you remember what the main event of our show was? It was Ryan Davison, the Reality Wrestling champion, versus the Impact World champion, Rich Swann. And do you remember what the finish was? It was title for title, champion versus champion, and it ended in an all-out brawl.
Oh,
right?
yeah, exactly. Both companies, Rock was filled out because they didn't want to lose the title, which I thought was a great idea. Wait a minute. I thought of it. Yeah, I did, which created more controversy, chaos, pandemonium. What's going to happen next if we do a Deep Impact 2? It had a thought process going to it. It had some flavor to where you could sink your teeth into it and say, man, this was really, really cool. Especially when you see the melee at the end, the brawl, that right there. We got to get out of here. We off the air type of deal. It made you feel a certain way. So yeah.
And I'm looking at the comments that we're getting right here on our YouTube channel. Slytherin Ninja 2021 says they're hoping that AEW will boost them, but it's only going to make fans focus on AEW. Christopher Wilson says absolutely horrible because we haven't seen anyone from Impact on AEW yet besides the Good Brothers. And then Mike Deal says Tony Khan said he would never buy Impact Wrestling. Well, I don't know whatever that means, but nevertheless, it is an odd move. And to me, only thing, like if I was a fan, right, of both shows, or I am a fan of both shows. So to me, what does it look like to me from looking at it from the outside? It makes it look like the AEW guys are better than the TNA guys.
Bottom line, if the champion get beat, which is your franchise player,
number one,
he's the number one guy, and he go out and get beat. I don't know, man. I could be wrong. But for me, if it was my company, something like that wouldn't have gone down. That's just me. Hey guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all the information. Starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man, I'm talking Impact, talking wrestling right now, talking AEW, new champion, Kenny Omega, double champion, AEW champ, as well as the TNA Impact. Is it TNA?
I think it's just Impact. I think it's just Impact, but it's TNA's ingrained in my
man,
head.
they need to put a campaign on that. You know what I mean?
Like when WWE did
TNA out.
Yeah,
exactly.
take the TNA out. Yeah. If you take never mind. Let me not say that. That was a bad joke. You can do it where I was going. But what the weird thing about it is, and I don't want to rag on TNA because there's a lot of great talent over there, and I like those guys over there, but they have a TNA world champion, I think, as well. There's an Impact world champion, and I think there's a TNA world champion. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but last time I saw a pay-per-view of theirs, it was Moose versus Tommy Dreamer for the TNA World Championship, and then there was another match later the night. Rich Swann defended the Impact World Championship. I'm pretty sure that happened.
I got to be honest with you. I don't watch TNA enough to know who's on there, how many belts they got. Okay, I know they got the X Division, and they got the Knockouts. All right, that I think they still got that, but no. I've tried to watch Impact Wrestling. I've tried to keep up with it, but it's just hard. But just like one of the comments there, maybe being in that same picture, with AEW getting the rub, they may think that that's going to make their company a little bit better. But there again, we haven't seen anybody in TNA over on AEW, but the Good Brothers, which I think was perhaps close to signing with AEW
At
at
one point.
one point in time.
Mhm.
Anyway, that probably let me. You know what? I don't want to get ahead of the horse or anything like that, but I think the Good Brothers is going to wind up being in AEW sooner than later anyway.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I just don't see the upside for Impact Wrestling other than getting the rub of having a feud with AEW right now, because AEW is hot. They're getting almost they just cracked 1 million
Sure.
views.
Mhm.
Right now, Impact Wrestling is hovering around, 170, 180, 200 views a week. They need something. They need a rub. They need something to, get some eyes on Impact Wrestling to get those numbers up more than anything. I don't know. Are they still on Access TV?
No, someone just said that and I should know this. I really should know this. I'm a bad journalist. Ha Boogie says, doesn't Impact air on the Fishing Network?
Because if I'm not
I
mistaken,
don't know. I'll look it up.
if I'm not mistaken, Access TV just got another wrestling company, MLW, somebody.
I think so. I don't know where they're airing currently. I'll find out.
On the Fishing Network. What?
Someone said that. I don't know if that's true.
Those let me take those views down to 60,000 a week.
I don't think it could be. This is terrible. This is terrible. This is in their Wikipedia. Since 2019, Impact has been thought by many to have recovered, though it has sustained international television distribution and the purchase by its parent company of Access TV, which subsequently began carrying Impact programming. Nonetheless, with the formation of All Elite Wrestling later that year and the promotion's high-profile U.S. deal with TNT, which is seen in more households than Access, Impact is still viewed as a smaller promotion by comparison. That's what their Wikipedia says. But it seems like they're still on Access.
Are they?
Access. That's what it says.
All right.
So maybe they're not on the Fishing Network. Nevertheless, I don't want to dump on them because okay, they air on Access and Twitch. Access TV and Twitch. Access TV and Twitch.
All right.
Okay, so they're still on Access. Good. That's good for them. But you know what it does remind me of? Do you remember back in the day when this was like really giving you the state of where ECW was at the time? It was Taz, who was a WWE contracted wrestler, went to go wrestle Mike Awesome, who was with WCW at the time, in an ECW event, in the main event, and won their world title, right? Like, it showed you where ECW was at the time, that they couldn't even have two of their own guys working for the title. They had two contracted wrestlers to other companies, and Taz walked away with that. So, to me, I wouldn't have done that. I would have never done that. I would have never done it. Although it's a cool moment. As a wrestling fan, cool moment. Love it. I love when the promotions work together. As a promoter, if I were the promoter, I would have never done it.
No, as a promoter, it's just like a phone call just a couple of days ago, and some wrestling company wanted to come and have an event at Reality of Wrestling, at our arena, at our World Gym Arena. And I'm like, are you kidding? You know what I mean? I don't want to have any other wrestling event near, what Reality of Wrestling does, unless it's a, ladies nights out, something like that. But anything in competition, in comparison, no, we're not going down that road. And I just don't get. I don't know. I just don't get. I know Scott D'Amore. You know what I mean? I know those guys. So
Good
I don't
people.
want. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't want to sit here and question those guys or anything. Oh man, like what are they doing or anything? But I do wonder. You know what I mean? Why make this move with TNA and AEW and not really maximize and get the full, meat and potatoes out of it? Because I don't see a whole lot of talk on AEW about Impact Wrestling. I just don't.
I don't know if I've seen any. I think the only advertisement they get is when the Good Brothers walk out and they're wearing the TNA titles, the Impact titles.
Yeah, Dunn Callis, right? I mean, he's got some connections with
Sure.
Impact, right? So I guess when you see Dunn Callis, you say, "Oh, this is the Impact guy." So you get a rub from that perspective. But honestly, Dunn Callis looked more like an AEW guy than an Impact guy at this point. I could be wrong. But we're gonna see exactly where that thing goes. Another guy that's making the news, CM Punk.
CM Punk.
CM Punk, man, it just won't go away. You know what I mean? I'm serious, man.
Why should he?
No, I'm not saying he should. You know what I mean? His name, it comes up, periodically, but I'm wondering if, what's up with CM Punk? Is CM Punk going to make a run? Is he going to come back and wrestle? Or does CM Punk feel like perhaps the game has passed him by? I wonder.
Well, I'll paraphrase. He was asked in an interview because Will Ospreay, who is the new IWGP champion over there in New Japan, he called out CM Punk at a press conference, right? He called him out at a press conference, which is always kind of setting my spidey sense off. I was like, he's at a press conference. Something seems weird here. But anyway, CM Punk responded, and when asked about it, CM Punk said, look, I'm open to anything. I'm open to going anywhere as long as the situation is right. He said if he were to go back to WWE, he would probably just be another guy on the roster. He would just be another guy. It wouldn't be special. It wouldn't be a big thing for CM Punk, is what he says. He says, I
think in the beginning it would.
In the beginning, it'd be huge.
I think when CM Punk come back, man, it would be like, the Hardys, and Jeff and, Christian,
right.
Not the, yeah.
Matt is the other Hardy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little off,
Edge and Christian, Hardy.
Yeah. They kind of run together. You know how it is.
Yeah.
They all look alike.
I mean, you and your brother Butch Reed. I mean, Stevie Ray.
I think I called Kofi R-Truth one time.
You did. And do you remember? I was with you. You were like, hey, Truth. And Kofi turns around and you're like, imagine if he would have said that.
Nah, man, but CM Punk, Will Ospreay. Would that be something people want to see? I think so. Will Ospreay, he got that style, man, to where he really brings everything to the table as far as trying to make the fan believe in what he's doing. He's a real artist. He's not one of those guys that look at this thing we do in any other way that, man, I want to go out and be the best. Will Ospreay, when I look at him, he makes me feel like, man, this guy want to be the best wrestler in the world. Of course, CM Punk, carries that moniker as well, best in the world. But when I look at a guy like Will Ospreay, this guy he's so dynamic in so many different ways. I always look at, his style in Japan, and a lot of other organizations that I've seen him in. I say, man, it's great, over there. But I wonder, if it will work in WWE. I wonder if it will work, in the States. But as far as a guy being really, really good, Will Ospreay is second to none. As far as I'm concerned, the guy's a really talented worker. And to see him in there with CM Punk would definitely, I think, be something that people would really be wondering, man, how would this thing turn out? What is this going to look like if it actually happened? That's what I see with a Will Ospreay and a CM Punk. Where it happens, I think is very important too. And Will Ospreay being in Japan, I think is great for Will Ospreay to call out somebody like CM Punk, because New Japan could cut a one-night deal like that. CM Punk over, big night, Wrestle Kingdom, whatnot, main event spot. Let's see how this thing work out. And if it works out, man, the sky's the limit. We could take this thing on the road. So I think it's a good call out as far as it being all the way Land of the Rising Sun. You ain't got to think about what's going on here in America. You can go over there, be in that environment where wrestling is really all about wrestling, and let's see if CM Punk still got what it takes. What do you guys think? Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
This is Booker T World Gym Arena in Texas City, the home to the Reality of Wrestling Training Center. It's a 20,000 square foot facility with more than 50 full-time students and wrestlers from around the world. Inside the World Gym Arena sits a 9,000 square foot venue set up for weekly shows.
From up top, 1-2 moonsault.
Where our students showcase their skills in front of a live audience.
What he's done here is awesome. He's created opportunity, and he's creating great talent, as you guys well know.
In the back, a full weight room.
6 up.
Complete with state-of-the-art equipment and personal trainers.
There you go, there you go. Two more.
A full staff and office personnel.
One more.
Running the day-to-day operation. We have interview sets for TV production, promo classes, quarterly combines. We evaluate progression and team building. Referees, commentators, ring announcers, and live television production. At the World Gym Arena, we don't just teach you how to become a professional wrestler, but an elite sports entertainer. This is Reality of Wrestling.
Shup. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guy. Hey, big shout out to Zeta Ramirez, formerly known as AQA. Big win on it, WWE NXT last night versus Tony Storm. Big shooting star press off the top rope. I got to give it to my girl, man. She's doing a great job. One of my students that made it. And always that's what I wish for all of my students is to be able to get up out of the nest, man, and go around the world and see it, do it. More important than anything. And I remember Angela coming into the Reality of Wrestling, our arena down there, and she came in for fantasy camp, and she's like, I don't know, maybe 16 years old or something like that, just like a little bitty kid. And now to see that little kid grow up and become, a WWE superstar, man, I'm like a proud dad. And I just want to say, AQA, Angela, keep doing your thing, girl. Keep making us proud at Reality of Wrestling.
Yeah, you know what? By the way, I took a closer look at her name today. I think it's not Ramirez. I think it's Ramier, because it's I-E-R, no Z at the end. So I think her name is Zeta Ramier. I don't know. I'm going to ask her to give us the right pronunciation because I don't want to.
I don't think they pronounce it that way. I think they.
I don't know.
Ramirez.
They might. Well, I'm looking at her Instagram, and I just noticed it for the first time. But it's Zayda, so Zeta, Ramier. What would that be? I'm just assuming it's French.
Okay. How about
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe she's from Louisiana. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, there you go. A little Creole.
Maybe she Creole.
She Creole. That's what it is. That's what it is. We should get her on the show and talk about her.
Definitely got to get her on, man. We definitely got to get her on. She did a hell of a job.
Great.
One of my guys was on AEW Dark. Wheel all day. I think he went up against Miro. Did a hell of a job as well. I got to give my guys big props, man. They're out there doing their thing, trying to make it to that next level, and that's what Reality of Wrestling is all about. If you're out there and you're trying to figure out, man, how do I get into this professional wrestling thing? Check out Reality of Wrestling. Go to realityofwrestling.com. Get all the information. Come on down there to Texas City. We got the best thing going. If you want to try to get in this business, so guys, try your luck. You definitely don't want to look back one day and say, man, I wish I had tried that stuff when I had a chance, man. But definitely, it's a good thing going on.
Is it crazy for you, just as somebody who, obviously, let me ask you this. What's more important, your legacy as a performer or your legacy as a teacher?
I don't think I could have one without the other.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah.
And I really
okay, let me ask you this. I guess this is my real question, and I didn't phrase it right. Like, is it a better feeling to go out there, rock the crowd yourself, and have this kick-ass match, or is it a better feeling to watch your students go out there and have the match of the night?
it's different. See, for me, going out and having the match of the night is like the most tense. It's the most. It's the hardest thing you can do because you don't want to make any mistakes. For me, when I worked in front of the crowd, I never wanted to make any mistakes. So I was always on the edge. I was always nervous. I was always, just trying my best to go out there and make it perfect. And doing that, you're going to put a lot of pressure on yourself. You're going to, it's going to be a lot of anxiety. That's the word I'm looking for. So for me, when I wrestled, I could not wait for the 1, 2, 3 and the bell to ring. And then it would be like an elephant will, be off my back. That weight would just dissipate. But when I watched, like AQA last night, when I watched her, in there with Tony Storm, and she's getting, beat up pretty good. And I can feel it. You know what I mean? I can feel it every time she's taking a bump. And I was actually getting to the point to where I was like, man, I'm getting a little pissed off. Like I wanted to hit the ring, and Tony Storm, and, hit her with a scissor kick or something like that. But but I sit there and I watched, and then AQA, finally, got the distraction, and then she got her shine, and then she got the 1, 2, 3, and I tell you, I sit there and it was like I was overjoyed. I could even feel like a little tear like wanting to come out of my eye, and then, I'm sitting there and I'm just looking at it and I'm just smiling. And then Charmel, she comes out of the bedroom and she's bawling, she's crying, just like going crazy, It's a difference, man. It's a difference. It's like, your kids winning. You did it, and it was good. When you see your kids do it, man, it's a feeling that, it's indescribable. To watch my son, get an interception, in high school, and run it back. Oh man, I'm running down the sideline too. You know what I mean? So one of those things, to where it's just different, and it's really like seeing, my kids, graduate. Mace, he's another one who's come up, who's been cutting his teeth down there, and now he's finally getting a break, and to see these guys do that, man, it's see Rachel Rose, get an AEW, shot as well. I tell you, man, it's a guys at Reality of Wrestling step up, step out, and go to that next level, and that's what it's all about at Reality of Wrestling.
Well, I mean, we talked about it before, but I think that you had a conscious effort of wanting to train people for a television style of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and so they're TV ready. In other words, like, we want to teach you everything you need to know, but at the end of the day, I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody who was recent. It was a recent interview I heard, and they were talking about getting signed by WWE, and they went to their first tryout or first day of NXT. And the coach was like, hey, we're going to learn to work hard cam today. And they looked at the person next to him and they go, what's hard cam? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're not exposed to those things, it's no fault of your own. You don't know what you don't know. But the fact that you can get that kind of information from somebody who's played in the Super Bowl, right? That's where you want to be. And that's why reality wrestling has always been a premier destination. You're just starting to see the Will Aldays, the Alex Gracias, the Zetas, the AQAs, obviously, the Ember Moons, the Maces, the Usos, all of them really having the best runs of their career. I mean, Jimmy Uso? I mean, Jay Uso? Oh, I told myself I wouldn't get this wrong. Jay Uso is having the best run of his career. Ember Moon having the best run of her career. AQA now on the ascent. Mace is in a better spot than he's ever been since he's been signed to WWE. You're all starting to see him bubble up at the same exact time, which is a really cool thing for me too, getting to see their career trajectories.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. I was reading this morning the press clippings, of course, Zeta Ramirez versus Tony Storm, and Zeta Ramirez, a student of Booker T. That's cool. That's cool. But, I don't look for the praise or anything like that when my students leave the nest or anything like that. And I appreciate the shout out and letting people know where Zeta come from. But, I just want to put it out there to reporters, when they're reporting on stuff like that, leave my name out of it if you can. Just because I want my guys to be able to fly on their own once they get out there. I don't want people to always be talking about this is a Booker T student or anything like that, because I gave them the tools. They did all the work. They should get all of the praise and most of the credit. What I did. Of course, they'll come back one day and do something for me at Reality of Wrestling, but I do not. I remember when Ember Moon, she made her debut and she went out there and she rocked it, and I knew it was going to be a lot of people wanting to ask me, man, what do I think about Ember Moon, and her being a Reality of Wrestling, student, former Reality of Wrestling. I left early before anybody could ask me any questions, just because I wanted her to get all the props. I wanted her to get all the glory. I wanted her to do all the interviews. And I text her later, just to tell her how good of a job she did. But that's just between her and I. And a lot of people may say, I don't know how people look at that. But for me, I just, like the Usos, people say, man, they came from Reality of Wrestling, but those guys, man, they're like what, second, third, fourth generation. They got wrestling in their blood, it's in their DNA. And for me to actually, for Rikishi to have, in his heart, to say, man, I'm going to send these guys to Booker T because I know Booker's going to do them right. Man, that meant so much to me, more than anything. Trusting me to lead these young guys in the right direction, that meant so much to me. And for me to fulfill that, there again, it's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure. And hopefully I did a good job.
Well, obviously you did, and I understand wanting to keep your name out of it. All the press out there, you can't say Reality Wrestling. We don't mind that, right?
Yeah,
Reality Wrestling is cool. But to me, it's almost like once they get to a certain level of their career, that is going to drop away anyway. It's not like you heard the wrestling headlines after WrestleMania, and it says, Shawn Michaels' student, Daniel Bryan, main events WrestleMania, right? I mean, Daniel Bryan got to a level to where he's no longer Shawn Michaels' pupil, right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That she's not my pupil anymore. She's on her own now.
Good point.
And I need, for the press to look at them like they're on their own more than anything. Give them the props. Like I say, I know what I did, and I know they're appreciative. It's just like AQA. The week before she made her debut, she was still on my Zoom class, still getting to school. And I'm like, girl, it's time to leave the nest, but it's just let me know that I'm doing a really, really good thing down at Reality of Wrestling. Guys, like I said, if you want to be a part of the row, come check it out. Right down there, 10,000 Emmett F. Lowry Expressway in Texas City, Texas. Booker T. World Gym Arena. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out on that deal. But stick around. We got a little bit more for you. Be back in a minute.
And your question for the win. In The Insider, Al Pacino's character works on which TV show?
Is it 60 Minutes?
And your winner!
The Movie Trivia Schmodown, the most competitive movie trivia league in the world.
It's MMA or boxing. It's like you want to see the two best scrapping it out.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
2 points. Movie release date.
Wow.
Danny DeVito.
That's correct. You mother, the rising sun. And your winner!
Championships, factions, the best in the world play here.
I'm ready to schmo down. Throw down with the schmo down.
Kevin! This is why we play the Schmodown.
The professional sports league of movie trivia. This isn't bar trivia. This is the Movie Trivia Schmodown.
Shup. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Schmodown, man. Don't miss out on Schmo. If you guys like movie trivia, check out the Schmodown. What's up, Brad? Why you looking so perplexed? You all right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just looking for a file. I'm good.
Yeah.
We're good. Don't worry. Book. We're good.
I just making sure, man. Just making sure. I need you to be on point, especially from a tech side, man, because we got some boxing coming up this weekend, and I just got to make sure.
What a hell of a segue that was, because we got some boxing.
We got some boxing coming up this weekend. Andy Ruiz Jr. Taking on Chris the Nightmare Arreola. Arguably, guys, two of the best Mexican heavyweights in the boxing game, squaring off in a Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view main event. Don't miss out, guys.
Yeah, don't miss out. This pay-per-view is an all-Mexican boxing extravaganza with 3 pay-per-view undercard matchups featuring exciting all-action toss-up fights.
Yes, indeed, guys. Hey, guys, going to be a 2-hour prelim show featuring Cuban star and super welterweight champion Arislandy Lara moving up to middleweight to face Thomas LaManna. Headlining show beginning, guys, at 7 p.m. Pay-per-view begins at 9 p.m., guys, and the price, $49.99, guys. Buy the pay-per-view now on foxsports.com/ppview and watch on any of your devices, guys. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. It's one of those things, man. We was talking about it on Monday when the Mexican fighters show up. The building is on fire. Cinco de Mayo, guys. Cinco de Mayo, May 1st. Has always been a day that lived in infamy, and we're gonna see exactly what goes down between these two fighters. I think title shot probably is going to be in line for one of these guys, whoever wins. That's the way I see it. So
yeah,
don't mess up. Don't get shot.
Andy Ruiz. I mean, where do you think he is at this point in his career?
That's what I'm wondering, man. I'm wondering where Andy Ruiz is. This is this fight. I think they say it's going to be like 30 pounds lighter than he was when he fought Anthony Joshua when he lost that last fight, which is really, really good. This is a guy who's never been touted to be the greatest or anything like that. Never was touted to be, the heavyweight champion of the world one day. But Andy Ruiz Jr. is a guy kind of like myself. There's a lot of guys that's walking in the same shoes that Andy Ruiz walked when they were kids coming up, that saw someone like him, that people told them that they wasn't going to be anything in life or whatever. Man, you're just not championship material. And then they go out there and defy all the odds. That's what Andy Ruiz did against Anthony Joshua in New York City, in Madison Square Garden. No one gave this guy a chance. He was a replacement. He was a stand-in for Anthony Joshua to go out there and get a big win on American soil. Man, first time, Madison Square Garden, Anthony Joshua, matchroom boxing. This is going to be big. But you never can, judge the size of a man's heart. And I think that's what happened with Andy Ruiz that first fight. He went out there and he cashed in. He cashed in big. He cashed in so big, I think he got a couple of Bentleys and a big nice house and all of that. And then he came in the second fight and he was totally a different fighter. You could tell that the riches of the spoil definitely got to him. He definitely was, not the same fighter coming in there as far as being, hungry. Man, I got to put some food on the table, and this is the fight that's going to do that for me. He didn't do that, but we're going to see exactly what he brings to the table come Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, I was really let down because it reminded me that when their second fight in Saudi. Yeah, I was so let down by that second appearance, and I really thought that Andy Ruiz was going to understand the ultimate opportunity that was presented for him. I mean, because think about this. They were calling him the Mexican Rocky. He had that story behind him. He had a country behind him. Which is something that you always tout as very important as a fighter. Tyson Fury has a country behind him, obviously, right? And he just did not understand, in my opinion. And I'm excited to see him fight because I want to see him get back on track. But in that moment, I don't think that he understood the ultimate opportunity that he had, and he came in out of shape. He didn't even look as good as he did in the first fight. And Andrew Ruiz isn't somebody who has the body of an Adonis by any stretch of the imagination, but he even looked a little bit less in shape for the second fight, and he was gassed. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, come Saturday night, I don't care how many pounds, he's dropped from the fight with Anthony Joshua. Chris Areola is not going to be somebody to, be played with. This is a guy that's been just looking to get over the top. As far as, the Mexican who was the Mexican before, this point was Chris Areola. Chris Areola was the guy that was, looking to crash that glass ceiling. Andy Ruiz just seemed to slip in there, you know what I mean? And that's the way it happens sometimes, being in the right place at the right time, in the right moment. That's what happened for Andy Ruiz Jr. But I'm going to tell you, Chris Areola, the nightmare, he's not – I saw him fight Adamek not too long ago. And Chris Areola – that was a fight that Chris Areola was supposed to lose. And he was supposed to lose in grand fashion. But Chris Areola went out there and he fought for 12 hard rounds. He took a beating, but he fought for 12 hard rounds. And that's what I'm wondering as far as Andy Ruiz Jr. in this fight on Saturday night. Chris Areola, he's not going to quit. You're going to have to do one thing. You're going to have to separate him from the senses. You're going to have to knock him out. And that's something that don't happen too often with Chris Areola. So this is going to be the test of all tests come Saturday night.
Well, we're going to see it. All screens will be available for that pay-per-view. Again, it begins at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. PT. Only $49.99. You can buy the pay-per-view now at foxsports.com/PPV. And again, you can watch on any screen. Booker, as we were talking about this fight, somebody made me aware of something that came out today, a debut today that we must discuss. Sergeant Peppers, love the name, 12, said Roxy made her ROH debut. And I went and just researched it. And of course, yes, not only did Roxy appear on the Ring of Honor's Women's Division Wednesdays, their new television show, it was Hyun and Lainey Luck taking on Roxy and Max the Impaler, 3 reality wrestling alumnuses on that show right there. And congratulations, by the way, to Lainey Luck, who was recently engaged. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Roxy, who came in as the 16-year-old sensation Hyun, who was originally what? Hai Young Young. And Lainey Luck was already established when she came in and came into reality wrestling, but still came through the doors. That's got to be a pretty cool feeling too.
Nah, man. Roxy, youngest sensation that we've had in reality wrestling, who just stepped up to another level, won the Diamonds Championship. Definitely that was a springboard for her. But I see so much in Roxy, and I've watched her grow up so much in such a short amount of time. And the sky's the limit for Roxy, just because she's got youth on her side, as well as just the knowledge and the experience for someone so young. Man, she's got everything just waiting for her. All she has to do is just go out there and grab it. And the thing with the with my girls, the ladies that come out of reality wrestling, I always tell them, when you go out here to these promotions, and you got these promoters, you got these wrestlers, understand what you're out there for, the job, take care of the job, the task at hand. I say, it's going to be a lot of temptation. You're going to always want to, go out there and, mix and mingle, get in the party. I say, and my thing is, it's going to be a whole lot of time for that. You know what I mean? It's going to be a whole lot of time for that. But right now, your focus is going out there and making it to the top. And after that, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. And if these promoters out there ain't treating you like Booker T treated you, you give me a call, and I'll take the baton from that point right there. But to see my girls out there doing it, and doing it big, Hyun, big props to Hyun, because I'm going to tell you right now, it would be no Roxy without Hyun. There would be no Ember Moons, if it wasn't for Hyun. There would be no AQA, Zeta Ramirez, however you pronounce that last name, if it wasn't for, Hyun. So I want to give props to Hyun, because Hyun has been the ultimate soldier, has been the ultimate general as far as making sure the ladies of Reality of Wrestling know exactly what the job and the task at hand is, because trust me, she knows. She went through the trenches at Reality of Wrestling, and she came out a better person, a better wrestler for doing that. So I just want to thank Hi Young for going out there and taking care of business with the ladies of Reality of Wrestling.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of all those women, and it's just cool to see them get some more shine and more praise. Much love to Roxy, Hyun, and Laney.
Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to Hall of Fame, guys. I'm still a bit tripping off me being booked for this show in Qatar. Let me call somebody on this, man. I was just looking through the Rolodex and seeing if I can get some numbers and trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
Yo, what the hell happened there?
But I got some stuff coming up here pretty soon. I got a Comic-Con coming up here next month on the 8th and the 9th, as well as some more stuff coming up with WWE. Documentary is going to be coming out on the 5th as well on A&E. So guys, do your boy a favor. Check it out. Check out Booker T's story on A&E May 5th. It's going to be a pretty good story as far as my life goes. How did I get here? The trenches that I had to go through, the bumps that was in the road as well. Hard times, but a lot of great times as well. And the story is there again, guys, if Booker T can do it, so can you.
I'm so amped to see it because I haven't gotten the sneak preview.
I'm perplexed. I don't.
You're perplexed?
Yeah, man.
Why?
I don't know, man. Because a guy just yesterday, I was talking to him. He said, "Man, they're gonna be doing your documentary on A&E coming up, in April. May, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." He was like, "Man, that's awesome, man." And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." And that's just the way I said it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Just because, man, I don't know. It's hard for me to look at myself the way other people see me. Just because I'm dad. I'm around the house. Cooking the fried chicken. Cleaning the kitchen up. Mowing the grass. I just feel like I try to make myself and feel as regular as I possibly can all the time. I just can't put myself in that spot. But when I see something like that, there again, it let me know that I put the work in. It let me know that I did a pretty good job. It let me know that I'm still working as well and trying to do something good for the next generation at the same time. It's all good. But it's still hard for me to look at it the same way everybody else look at it. And as well, it's still hard for me just to look at it sometimes. Kind of like, you remember when we did the Jake the Snake movie,
Sure.
at Reality of Wrestling?
Yeah.
Jake the Snake, he stood outside the whole time. He wouldn't even come in. He wouldn't even watch it. He didn't even watch any aspects of it, any parts of it. Charmel could be watching something on YouTube, and I hear my voice, and I tell her, "Babe, can you turn that down?" Just because my voice sometimes irritates me, and I don't want to hear it.
Imagine how I felt for the last 9 years.
I'm serious. My daughter, she goes, "Dad, why do you want to see yourself?" But I don't know, man. Just because I don't know, I'm still trying to grapple with it. I'm still trying to grapple with it from the fact that I always ask God, why me?
Why not you?
Why not me? That's a good question too. But I always wonder why me. Out of all of my friends, all of my buddies, that I grew up with, I was the least likely to succeed out of all of these guys. I know I was. I just didn't see that for me, and then to be blessed. It just I still question. Always, why me? I always try to live up to the responsibility, but still I ask, why me? And I think that's a question that I'm going to always be asking myself, just because I know where I come from and I know what I've been through. And I always tell people all the time, I haven't worked since I was 25 years old. I haven't worked. I've done this, and I say, man, how do you find that? How do you get that in life? How does that is bestowed upon you, that this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life, and it's something that you like, and you get paid to do it, and you would do it even if you didn't get paid to do it. It's one of those type of deals, and you go, man, why me? Why now, after all these years, am I still getting on airplanes, going all over the world? Why me? I'm booked in Qatar next year, and I don't even know it. That kind of stuff. Why me? But it's I know it's a good thing, and it's definitely a blessing.
Oh yeah, I mean, you said you asked why you, or you didn't see that for yourself, but he did, right? I don't mean to get too spiritual on you, but he saw it for you. It was his plan.
Yeah.
The entire time. And honestly, and I've had this conversation before, because I encourage as many people as I come into contact with to go out and read your first book, especially From Prison to Promise, because it's literally, you couldn't script it. If you took it to Hollywood, no one would believe it. No one would believe this story at all. And that's why I'm really just excited, someone who's known you for the better part of a decade, to be able for the world now to see this story, and for it to be documented frame by frame on one of the longest running series in the history of television, which is biography. A&E biography been around forever, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? And I've been watching it forever. I've been watching A&E biography forever, man. It's one of the channels that's just locked. You know what I mean? I got it set on the television because it's one of the channels I watch all the time. First 48. I wake up with First 48 and a cup of coffee. I'm serious, man. But to see myself, on A&E biography, God, man, you say, wow, man, why me, man? How did this happen? It's gonna be really good. Like I say, very insightful. Following the documentary, of course, Hidden Treasures, with Booker T. Looking around for some of the lost artifacts, in the world of wrestling, which was really, really cool. Doing it with a young kid by the name of AJ Francis, looking to make his WWE main roster debut really soon. I can't wait for him to do it because I think he's going to do really, really good, especially after all of the expert tutelage I gave him throughout the travel of the Hidden Treasures, so it's going to be really good, guys. Check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, by the way, also the song Booker T passing, I saw a couple days ago, 100 million views on YouTube. Also getting certified gold record. Platinum's going to be next.
That's, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
What the heck's going on out here in my life, man? But it's good. It's real good, man. I always saw myself, after walking away from the business, still being able to be a part of the business and still having fun more than anything. I was looking at another guy who's thinking about retirement, walking away from the game. Daniel Bryan, a guy who, come on, Daniel Bryan had put in a lot of work before he ever got to WWE.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson, you know what I mean? Had put in a lot of work before he made it to the WWE, and I'm sure he's the guy who perhaps least likely to succeed to the level that he has, especially in a company like WWE, making it all the way to the World Heavyweight Championship, making it to the main event of WrestleMania. that kid coming from the independent scene. You know what I mean? After putting so many years in, at the same time. So I know exactly what Daniel Bryan is, but Daniel Bryan, I must say, just like a lot of the young guys in the business, they need to think about the brand. They need to think about, how they market themselves to where when they do walk away from this thing, there is still, something left on the table for them. So definitely, I like the way Daniel Bryan has come up through the game. Married one of the hottest, women in the business, and trust me, she got, you know what? Try to let her divorce me. I'm taking her to court. You know what I mean? I won't have. You know what I mean? So Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, the Bella's talking about branding.
Yeah,
outside of the business, the Bella's
he's
another level.
He's in a good spot. He's in a real good spot. So I'm liking the idea, man. Walk away from it when you know it's time. Don't stick around the game, well past your time, and you're just reaping that crowd approval, that roar of the crowd. That right there, I think it's when it leads to things happening. Bad things happening when you stick around too long. Daniel Bryan, I think right now is like 40.
At least, yeah.
So he's at that number. I said I wanted to walk away at 40 was the number that I chose for myself. Daniel Bryan may be in that same place that I was in, back in the day. Because, when I got to 40, I said, man, I still got a little bit left in the tank, man. I'm still better than, most of these suckers on the roster. So I'm going to push it a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So I pushed it, like 4 more years. But definitely I knew when it was time to walk away from that thing because, no man leave unscathed.
Yeah, he turns 40 in about 3 weeks. In about 3 weeks, he turns 40. So he's thinking about it at the right time. He even said, I read somewhere he tried to convince them to take him out of the main event of WrestleMania because he was like, I just didn't feel it at the moment, right? I just didn't feel it. And they went out there and rocked it. They had the best match of the night. But nevertheless, if you don't want to main event WrestleMania, perhaps being in the stands instead of in the center of the ring is the place for you. And Daniel Bryan, Hall of Fame career. It's great that he's been able to have this second career, almost coming back after the injury, having all these great WrestleMania matches, having another run with the title, making Kofi at WrestleMania 35, having the main event this year. He's a Hall of Famer. So, what does he have to do? Nothing. Made man.
Nothing, man. Definitely sit back and enjoy the fruits of the labor because I think, where we are as wrestlers right now, just like we were talking to Ted DiBiase a couple of weeks ago, I say, Ted, would you ever imagine that, we would have all of this waiting for us after our careers, Comic-Cons, people flying us all over the world. They want to see us old guys. And you're like, no, ain't no way, that I would have thought something like this was going to happen. I remember when we had, our convention here in Houston that I put on. And I called Stan Hansen. And I said, Stan Hansen, I got a convention and I'd love for you to come and be a part of it. And I said, man, I can give you $3,000, I think $3 or $5,000 or something like that. And he was like, you want to pay an old man like me that much money? And I say, man, you just don't know how big you are in Texas still, man.
Stan the man.
Name still rings very, very loud, man. And Stan Hansen came down, man, and had such a good time. And like Daniel Bryan, man, I don't think he's going to have to, worry about anything. He's done a hell of a job for himself. Like you say, Hall of Fame career, married into a whole lot of money at the same time. That right there, for me, my wife, she rich in a lot of ways, but
just stop right there.
Hold on. But the greenbacks, it ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to get out of here, man.
That's probably a good idea.
We got to get out of here before I get in trouble. I don't know if my wife is listening to the show, but baby, I'm just playing. We got to get out of here, man. I want to thank everybody for sticking it out inside the Hall of Fame. Brad, as always, you know what I mean? Appreciate you. Same place, same time next week. We'll be here on Monday. So make sure you tune in. But right now, we out of here.
Can you dig it, you sucker?